What's up, AfterBuzzers? We're here for the Doom Patrol after show. Oh my gosh, that scene in the episode, orgasmic, or was that too much? I don't know. Let's talk about it here on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Woohoo! Yes, it's Sunday, which means we're here for Doom Patrol Season 1, Episode 14, Penultimate Patrol. I am your host, Ollie Drennan. I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. If you're tuning in the live chat, that's great, because I'm solo dolo, unfortunately, but you are a part of this show just as much as I am. So shout out to the chat. I just want to say, hey, Ivan Soto, love you. Thank you. My hair is different, so thank you so much. We have so much to talk about. We got to talk about Mr. Nobody. We got to talk about the gang going in to save, attempting to save Niles. And we got to talk about that crazy scene that I mentioned in the opening, because wow, what a scene that was. But let's go ahead and start off with our first topic of the week, which is Mr. Nobody. It was really cool to see him kind of be with his former lover in this episode, who kind of left him and kind of coined the name for him, Mr. Nobody. She said he was a nobody for not living up to his full potential. He got let go by the Brotherhood of Evil. Oh my gosh, hopefully for season 2, that's what I'm hoping for. But it was really nice to kind of almost sympathize with Mr. Nobody. I know he's the villain, but at the same time, kind of felt bad for the guy for being called a nobody. And this particular flashback kind of, like I said, turned him into the antagonist of the show at the end of the day. And then it was really cool because we're kind of at the not the season finale, but the semi-finale. So all of our characters are here together and they're ready to save Niles and become what the show has been wanting to be for the longest time, which is a superhero show, the Doom Patrol. And I really like this episode because I think it really showcased everyone equally, and everyone has grown so much over the course of this show. Ivan said, yes, Ivan, I am alone. Thank you very much. But if you are tuning in the live chat, let me know your thoughts on this episode. But like I said, everyone grows so much throughout this season. I know we're 14 episodes deep, but it was really nice to see them go into the flashback when Mr. Nobody was kind of toying with everyone and wanting them to not save Niles. Nothing bad will ever happen to you in this moment if you just stay here. But all of these characters, every single one of them chose to continue to fight and hope to save Niles. They left those flashbacks. It was so freaking cool. And of course, we also had Flex in this episode. But I will always stand Rita. She is so freaking amazing. I love Rita so much because to me, she's grown the most out of everyone. She used to be so narcissistic, so into herself, and just that quintessential starlet back in the day. But she really has grown to care about other people and not really care about how people perceive her, because she's grown to really own all of her shortcomings and to be able to be such a great support system for her team. And Cliff, you know, everything that happened with him, he's grown a lot too, because he had to let go of his daughter Clara previously back in the episode when he killed the gator. And I was really so motivated when I saw everyone just be so gung-ho to fight Mr. Nobody. But it was kind of crazy to see Crazy Jane, kind of fight within herself. She was fighting with Hammerhead. Jane versus Hammerhead, of leaving this flashback. But I have to shout out Diane. You are killing it in this role. She was so phenomenal. She's crying, she's spitting, she's just fighting herself. She is an actor, honey. She was killing it as this freaking, oh my gosh, one of my favorite scenes of the episodes for sure. Ivan, what did you say? Oh my gosh. Niles is Mr. Glass. Oh my gosh, I love that comparison. If you've seen Glass, you know what I'm talking about. No spoilers. Ivan also said it's kind of worse for Jane. She chose mental instability for her new life. I wonder if we'll ever see the Metal Man. I keep thinking of then when I see the Doom Patrol dynamic. I don't know. Maybe season 2. We don't know. And also we did have Larry, and Larry really acknowledged the fact in his flashback that he was being so selfish back in the day, of wanting to keep his image so much in mind by, you know, we know Larry is gay, but he did have a family. he had a wife, he had 2 sons, and he was being selfish in the fact that he wasn't, one, he was cheating on his wife at the end of the day, but he was also just too selfish to be himself. It's kind of weird, but yeah, he kind of, I don't know where, I just wonder what the whereabouts of his sons are. I don't know if we ever got that this season, but obviously he's in a better place now that he's able to kind of be one with the entity, the negative man. And that's really cool. So I just love seeing everyone kind of come together. But what was crazy in this episode was one of the big twists. But before we get that, I want you guys to subscribe, give us that 5-star on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. You guys are much a part of the show, as I am. We'd really appreciate you guys tuning in live. Shout out to Billie Jean and Eon in the chat. We see Serpentina and, of course, MVP Ivan Soto. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you guys just coming every week and talking about us. And it's okay if you're not tuning in live. That's totally fine. Keep commenting below. We'd really appreciate that discussion. It's so much fun because we love this show. It's amazing. So give us that 5-star review and we would really appreciate it. So yeah. But before we get to that crazy scene, I do want to talk about real quick that insane orgasmic scene I keep mentioning. It was kind of crazy. I know. What did you guys think of that scene when it was everyone in Danny Street? Shout out to Danny Street. I love Danny Street. It was cool to see that come back in this show. But Flex kind of flexed wrong, and it caused the entire population in Danny Street, along with our core cast of characters, to experience an orgasm randomly. Well, not randomly. He flexed wrong, and it caused everyone to orgasm, and it was very interesting. So this is clearly not so much of a this isn't really family friendly, I would say, but it's a good thing that it's on streaming services and not on cable television, so that's great. So they can kind of get away with this. But it was really interesting. I think it was kind of funny because we got to kind of have a sigh of relief, or a moan of relief, because it's been so intense lately for our core cast of characters. So it was nice to kind of have that comic relief implemented in the episode. Gosh. So shout out to the chat. Oh, Serpentina says, "Oh, Larry, his story is so real and sad. I'm glad he's finally giving himself the chance to be his true self." Eon in the chat said Jane's reaction. Well, Jane had plenty of reactions in this episode, but her reaction when she was orgasming, she was fighting it. She was fighting it, but yeah, Flex, shout out to you. I'm sorry you weren't in the episode that much, but it's totally fine. Maybe, I'm sure that's not the last we've seen of Flex. I'd love for him to actually join the Doom Patrol and to really kind of, because he's still kind of an outsider. He needs some friends. I don't know. Billie Jean, oh my gosh. Billie Jean, shout out to you, because you reminded me of this part in the episode with Cliff faking it because he's a robot. He's just a brain in this robot. So how was he climaxing? How was he orgasming exactly? And so I love that they called him out on it. And he's just like, I just wanted to fit in. Relatable. Totally. I get it. I get it, Cliff. So I just really enjoyed the scene with the return to Danny Street and seeing Flex hug the wacky inflatable waving arm man, tube man. That was so freaking funny. And I just love the characterization of Danny Street and how it's like this living, breathing. It's a town, but it's so well personified. You feel like it's an actual character. And I love that it's obviously very queer, and it has all these diverse groups of people living in Danny Street and just having fun and orgasming. So I loved our return to Danny Street. I guess we'll get to our crazy twists of the episode. There was actually 2. So I think we'll start with let's start with the one that came before, which was the reveal of, okay, this is something that I saw coming. I predicted this. Silas reveals to Vic, because Vic's actually not with the rest of his team. Vic was implemented with false memories. What really happened was Vic and his mom were injured, but Silas knew he could only repair one of them or save one of his family members. So he chose to save Vic because he knew that his wife would have wanted that decision. Save my son, save our son. So I get it. And so by doing that, Silas didn't want Vic to hate him because of that. So what he did was implement false memories into Vic in order for him not to hate him or disown him as a father. And I get it, but also at the same time, I think I don't think he would have hated his father if he knew that's what happened, if Silas made that choice. But I did really feel bad for Silas because he at that point didn't have a choice. I don't know what did you guys think of this big reveal? I definitely saw it coming. I feel bad for Silas because no one killed the mom. It was an accident, but I just understand that Vic feels kind of like obviously his memories were altered completely by his blood, his father. So I understand his frustration. I see both arguments, kind of not really with Silas anymore. Now that I think of it, it's kind of screwed up that he did that. Let's see in the chat. Oh yeah, not implemented. He was just told a lie so many times that Vic ended up believing it. Okay, well still he implemented the fact that, he kind of ended up not being the one to kill his mom. But it was definitely really hard to see that happen because, I think, and then also on top of that, Vic almost killed his father, which I thought he ended up killing his father back in the day, but he didn't. And now he probably does want to kill his father now that he knows the truth. This actually leads to the gang ended up going to the white panel, which is the white panel from comics. If you're familiar with comics, the white panel. All the cool, awesome pictures with all the captions and whatnot, all the dialogue. But in between that is usually the white panels. So our cast goes into the white panel and they infiltrate it and they end up encountering Mr. Nobody. And who else is there? It ends up being Vic. But before that, it was really cool to see all of our characters kind of fight this antagonist who's kind of been the puppet master and kind of manipulating every single one of them. And I love seeing Dr. Harrison return and being the one to really stand up to Mr. Nobody and say, these characters are not going to play your game anymore. They've played it for so long, but now they know that they have their choice. They can fight fate and they can make their own fate. And it was so awesome to see that. And then we end up having Vic come in all of a sudden and just shoot Mr. Nobody. And that was it. Vic shot Mr. Nobody, and then Mr. Nobody disintegrated. He's gone. He was somehow easily defeated. At first, I'm thinking, my first thought, that was way too easy. There's no freaking way that was it. I mean, we're on episode 14. We still have another episode. So something didn't sit well with me right there. Before I move on, let me check the chat. Oh my gosh, yes. I agree with you, Ivan Soto in the chat. Rita narrating was so badass. It was really fun to see her fight Mr. Nobody while Mr. Nobody started to narrate. She started to narrate. She didn't listen to him. I love April as Rita. She's so, it's almost as if I want her to have her own series. But anyways, I can't get enough of her. What else? Ivan also says, Ollie, what do you think of the last scene that nobody expected this team to fight against him? Oh, yeah. Okay, well, we'll get there first. But Billie Jean says, Vic had never said booyah. So when he said it, I knew something was up. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Vic did say booyah after shooting Mr. Nobody in that scene in the white panel. And that's like his catchphrase, at least in Teen Titans. Yes, I agree. Malachi, Rita won me over as well. I agree. Ivan also says a good point that these characters in this episode were really leaving their old lives and kind of being able to narrate and kind of manifest their new lives as the Doom Patrol. And it was really cool to see. This also leads to the reuniting of them along with Niles, the Chief. Everything is just perfect. It's like a year later, apparently. Everyone's back at the mansion. And come to find out that they have to fight someone. But There's also a plate of bacon, and I just want to shout out that plate of bacon. Looked very delicious, and I'm starving right now. But anyway, everyone has like their costumes. Everyone's getting along. It just seems, in my head, watching this scene, it just seemed way too good to be true. And I'm looking at how much time I have left on this episode. And all of a sudden, they go to this park, and they're ready to fight. They're ready to fight. And they end up fighting this robot. And the robot ends up killing the Doom Patrol. Meanwhile, Niles is in the bus watching everything go down. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Niles is screaming. And then we have this whole Groundhog Day effect scenario, this whole montage, basically, of the Doom Patrol restarting that very same day and getting killed over and over again as Niles watches. And as a viewer, I thought that at first I was frustrated. I was like, what is going on? But at the same time, looking back at it, I think, wow, that was really well implemented, because that made me feel the frustration and the horror that Niles was feeling as he saw his team, his family basically being killed over and over again by this robot. Oh yeah, Ivan also says, Ollie, if you remember Rita's outfit, it was the same one she wore in the Titans episode. That outfit makes so much sense because it looked super familiar. And I remember the Titans episode when Raven met up with Beast Boy, and that's how they got Beast Boy away from the Doom Patrol. So that dress totally looked familiar. Thank you for reminding me. Like, that makes so much sense that it was in the Titans. Billie Jean in the chat says, they fought that robot that Mr. Nobody showed his girlfriend at the beginning of the episode. So I knew Mr. Nobody wasn't gone. Good point. I remember that because that robot looked exactly like, it really was the same robot that he had in the beginning of the episode. Came full circle. And so as we kind of get to this montage, as it starts to end, Niles realizes something's up, and come to find out, in one of the new starts of the day, the Vic that was in the montage that all the way through was not Vic. It was Mr. Nobody this whole time, because the real Vic shows up. And I'm thinking, what the freaking heck is going on? Oh my gosh, I knew it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that, how could, no, Mr. Nobody's here. And I'm just wondering now that I think they're capable of fighting Mr. Nobody at this point, because they have learned so much. They have so much more confidence within themselves and as a team. I just wonder, how exactly are they going to take him down with this newfound confidence, this newfound cohesive unit that they have going on for themselves? I want to know. And like they said that was a year. It was a year past since defeating, quote unquote, defeating Mr. Nobody. So basically, Mr. Nobody defeated himself, I'm taking it. I don't know. What did you guys think? Let me know. I'm looking at the chat right now. Okay, let's see. Ivan says, Ollie, do you want the team to defeat Nobody this season? Yes, I do. He also goes to say, I want him to be defeated this season because I don't want this show to become repetitive. I agree. I was saying this last after show that I am definitely, one, I was done with the flashbacks. I think the characters have shown so much growth that we don't need the flashbacks anymore. And I think because we have this antagonist who's so heavily based off of flashbacks and has been constantly manipulating everyone here and there throughout their lives and in the present day, I'm so ready to move forward from this antagonist and kind of find a new enemy, a new arc, a new fight to fight, basically. So I'm ready to see what's going to go down in episode 15. Let's see. Our Doom Patrol acted like the old Doom Patrol, thinking they defeated Nobody, if you remembered that. Oh my gosh, Ivan, you are so completely right. That they're basically doing the exact same thing that happened to them when they were defeated. Genius! I didn't even notice that. Shout out to the chat, because like I said, you are just as much a part of the show as I am. Let's see. Also, Philip in the chat says Jane and Robot Man looked weird. Did they? I don't. They might have. I don't know. Also, shout out to Jane, because I feel like she is really coming into who she is and honing her character, honing her personalities, and being able to not fight. She fought a little bit with Hammerhead, but I think it was necessary in this episode. But I think she is able to use them in the right settings. and at the right times. They're not just coming in randomly anymore. I think she has so much more control over them. And I think her personality is like, I think of them as each one of them as a different character. And I think they've kind of come to really respect Jane, if that makes sense. They are okay with Jane kind of letting Jane take the wheel and steer, the vehicle. Philip also says, I want him to be defeated, but not killed. I'm hoping we can get a Brotherhood of Data in a future season. Not season 2, though. That should be Brotherhood of Evil. I completely agree with you on that. I think we need a new big bad. Mr. Nobody can kind of take a seat for a little bit, go on vacation a little bit. And then Billie Jean in the chat says, I want Niles to tell the team about the woman he's basically doing this all for. Oh, maybe he will in the next episode. That would be really good. I would like that a lot. I think that would make a lot of sense because also we have not seen Niles until this episode for quite some time. I think the last time we saw him was in Beard Hunter. Shout out to Beard Hunter because we did see Beard Hunter in Danny Street. I completely forgot about that. I don't want to see Beard Hunter anymore after that because seeing Beard Hunter climax, I know it's kind of hard. It's crazy to talk about this on this after show today, but it happened in the episode, so we have to talk about it. But yeah, I'm glad that Beard Hunter is kind of taking a new lease on life in Danny Street. He is no longer the pube hunter, as I think Jane called him. They were calling him names in this episode, and I was here for it. Philip says, Jane and Robot Man looked weird in the costumes because the jackets didn't go with the white and red at all. Oh, yeah, because they have to be cohesive. I get it. Ollie the Brain and the Gorilla, they talked about are from... Yes. I remember that because earlier... I love the shout-outs to the comics, obviously. I think it was... Is it Gorilla Grot that they were talking about? And obviously the Brain. I just remember from the Teen Titans animated series, that's when I was first introduced to those villains, and it was really cool to see them kind of mention them. But yeah, I really want to see a Brotherhood... Like, I want to see a League of Villains fight this League of Heroes that we have, the Doom Patrol, because now to me that they're heroes, and I really want to see where it goes. And I really want to see where it goes in episode 15 of Doom Patrol next Friday, or this coming Friday, because this is going to be the season finale of season 1. So get those predictions ready. I'm going to start manifesting them. I'm going to start thinking what's going to happen, because there's so much that can happen in this show, because so much has happened in this show. Like, it's been a wild roller coaster of an acid trip, really. But it's been a pleasure talking about it week after week with you guys, and I just love it so much. So before we get to predictions, I do want to get to news real quick. Just real quick.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So also on the DC streaming service, I just want to shout out that the Swamp Thing trailer has been released. So please go check that out. We can't show it here on the after show just due to copyright, but we got to support the DC streaming service, because without it, we're not going to get another amazing season of Doom Patrol or more awesome DC content. And I think this streaming service is so freaking phenomenal. I love it so much because you also get comics. And I just want a season 2 full of the Brotherhood versus the Doom Patrol. So keep on subscribing. Watch all these amazing shows. They have Titans, and we're going to get so much amazing more shows. We are getting Swamp Thing soon. It's not going to be your typical superhero show. And later on, we're going to get Harley Quinn. So it is going to be amazing. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the DC streaming service. It is so freaking awesome. I highly, highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. So now, before we get to predictions, I do want to do a special segment for you guys, which is basically just shouting you guys out in the comments that you left last week on our after show. So I think you're in the chat right now, Philip. You said last week, Cyborg still thought he killed Silas in the moment. I'm definitely glad that they left him alive. I think there's still a lot of storytelling potential with him and Cyborg on either next season of Doom Patrol, or when Cyborg inevitably, can't talk right now, ends up on Titans. So you bring up a really good point, Philip, of Cyborg possibly going over to Titans at some point. I don't know. That I think it makes perfect sense, because he is a core member of that original team, Cyborg. He's not really affiliated with the Doom Patrol in the comics at all until this show happened, and I think it was maybe done so in order to draw more attention to this show, because the Doom Patrol isn't really a household name. So I think they needed that special superhero that would help kind of garner in more fans of like, oh, Cyborg's on the Doom Patrol. What is that? What's Doom Patrol? So I think that was kind of strategic, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see Cyborg kind of go into the Titans. Maybe not even like join the team, but guest on it. Just like the Doom Patrol was on an episode of Titans for the first season of that. So that would be cool. Robert in the comments last week said, I love this episode plus Flex. And I definitely agree with you. I love last week's episode and I want to see more Flex. I think that, like I said, he needs friends and he would be such a cool, maybe Flex will replace Cyborg, I wonder. Replace Vic, and Vic can go to Titans. There you go. I don't know. Maybe that could very well help. But now that the Doom Patrol is really well established, maybe they don't need Cyborg. I don't know. So many stories to tell. And our last comment from our last after show last week is from Tika Paprika. Said, I believe Cyborg is going to be in Titans season 2. Well, there you go. Someone else commented that. That's a good prediction. So let's go on to predictions, because now this is really having me think.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay. All right. I don't know. You guys got to start getting those predictions ready, but I think that what's going to happen is, I think now that Cyborg knows that his father gave him the idea that he accidentally killed his mom, I think he wants to get away from his father and maybe even get away from the Doom Patrol. And I think that maybe, I mean, he's here to help defeat Mr. Nobody, but I think maybe after everything's said and done, after they do defeat Mr. Nobody, because I do predict that they will end up defeating Mr. Nobody, I think maybe he is going to take a seat away from Doom Patrol and maybe go to Titans, even just a guest star maybe. But I think the Doom Patrol doesn't really need Cyborg anymore, and I don't think Cyborg necessarily needs the Doom Patrol. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on the matter, because they really helped each other grow, but I don't think they really necessarily need to stay together anymore. I don't know. What did you guys think? All right. Philip says Titans say that they're connected and Doom Patrol says they are not. So I don't know. Oh my gosh. The retcon of it all. What is going on? That's really interesting that you bring that point up. It's funny how Titans acknowledges Doom Patrol, but Doom Patrol doesn't acknowledge Titans. And so, wow. Aren't comic shows and comic movies so amazing and confusing at the same time? Y'all, this is amazing. I agree. That is really, really weird. Billie Jean Girl says, I think the team might get away from Niles after knowing what he did to them. That's a very good point that you bring up. That is very good. But, you know, you want a happy ending, but I just don't know if we'll actually get the happy ending. Let's see. What else? There was the Chief reveal. What did you guys think of the Chief reveal? Because I would like to know what you think of the Chief reveal. It was kind of wild for sure. But I was wild, but at the same time, I wasn't all that surprised for some reason. I don't know. I think that next week is going to be crazy. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how they're going to end up defeating him necessarily, Mr. Nobody, but it'll be really interesting. And I need to start brainstorming some ideas, and I need to just join with my Doom Patrol, which is Elena and Tehran, and they will be back here next week. But unfortunately, we do have to wrap up at this time. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, y'all. But I had an amazing time with you guys talking about this amazing episode. Until next week, I'm your host, Ollie Drennan. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer. Until then, we will be back for the season finale of Doom Patrol.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.